Welcome to Blockbuster Bums. Kick back your recliner, crack open a beer, and let's talk movies. And today we're here to talk about Carentan, episode 3 of Band of Brothers. So, yes, moving right along through Band of Brothers. As you can see, AJ's back. Barry is not. So, just a four-man crew again. So, let's get started. We're going to move right into Carentan here. Great episode as far as I'm concerned. But it starts off with Skinny and Shifty and another soldier finding Blithe, who's standing in the field looking at the clouds.
For a very long, disturbingly long time. Yeah.
Yes, 100%. I think you see like a parachute stuck in the tree. I don't know if that's his parachute or not.
Yeah, I don't know.
And it takes Blythe's kind of non-responsive for a while there, where they say his name over and over again, and he just keeps staring at the clouds. It's a interesting scene.
For sure. He's really lucky he didn't get sniped off.
Well, you find out later probably why he's alive. I mean, he tells you later that he's been hiding in a ditch.
Yeah, which kind of makes you then wonder what he's doing there. Because that means that up until that point, he was laying in a ditch, then stood up and just wandered around more.
Yes, which is a very weird
Yeah,
tactic to try and stay alive.
Yeah.
I don't, well, yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think the man seemed more like in some type of shock more than anything.
He seems that way, but also according to the story, you don't really have anything to be shocked by unless something happened on the plane before he jumped, which is possible.
I mean, look, we've seen that opening sequence. Like, there could have been a lot. Like, who knows what really happened to the man? But I mean, or even like I said, even just the trauma of jumping out of a plane. Like, who knows? Like, they were just throwing people out. What if he was like, I don't know, man. Like,
I personally took it. Maybe I'm wrong. I personally took it as the fact that he was all alone. Like either all of his company is dead, or they all dropped way away from him. Which is weird because we saw well, not just his company, but everybody, because he's all alone, and we saw like Winters didn't drop with his company, but he met right up with multiple soldiers from other companies.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. I don't think it was that. 'Cause like I said, it sounded like he made the conscious decision to lay down in that ditch rather than do that and find people.
That could be true too.
Like,
I didn't ever.
When he like I said, when he says it, or he says it with shame in his voice. You hear
Oh,
it.
totally. Yeah.
Like, and he's like almost ready to cry. That it's almost like a dishonorable thing that everybody else got up and ran toward. He's like, dude, I just laid there. He's like, I just stared.
I just felt like it was something he had to get off his chest at that point when he finally tells them, because it's quite a bit later in the episode when he tells them.
Because he's watching everybody else get torn up.
Yeah.
Like I said, he's just laying in that foxhole, just looking around. People are losing legs, fingers, and stuff, and pieces and whatnot. And he's like, can't even fire his weapon and all that until like old boy comes over and kind of gives him a pep talk, and just keep shooting. Like, it's like he's not even aiming, just shooting, just to build confidence. Even like that's really I think what this is about. Like, it's watching that journey of like you went from being this guy that was like shocked and everything, that you're now in war, probably like in a ditch, to like somebody's slowly trying to build you up and you're seeing the horrors of it, and then it kind of goes sideways on you later on in the episode. Like,
Yeah. I don't know. It was just a weird scene, because even when he finally walks over to them, when they start asking him questions, he doesn't speak. He just nods his head. Yes, no, and then finally he speaks, and like it's a couple scenes. I don't think he says a word in this entire scene. Now that I'm sitting here thinking about it.
kind of mumbles. But I mean, well, it's no different than him later on, like blind.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden gets a talk from Winters and everything, and then it's like, I think I'm good. Like, I think it's really about like these people from this company and everything, like almost like helping people along through this, and like giving them confidence through it and all. Like,
I mean, it's definitely a crisis of confidence.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
yeah, but that's what I think it's got to be some type of shock, because like I said, from start to finish, that's all you're really seeing is that, like, yeah, I mean, yeah, you're in this situation that's terrible and all, but it's like usually when somebody who's like more calm in the situation or more seasoned in it, gives him like a talk or some type of coaching, he does well.
Yeah.
Like that's all. Like he just isn't good solo. He
And-
doesn't have a partner in war really.
And it
Like
all
everybody
and
else
it
is a
all
buddy.
and it all leads up to that speech that we'll talk about later. But it was like step by step by step,
Oh, definitely.
step, and then it's just like bam, there you go, and then it's just sadly over.
Yeah. So then the three of them, Blithe, Shifty, and Skinny, all go with. I think they said they were with the 502. I think is who they said they were walking with.
I think so.
They go into like a camp that has been set up and find a bunch of Easy that we did not see in the last episode. These are a bunch of guys that were missing, I guess, in the last episode when we saw.
Like I said, they're all scattered around.
Yeah, and they're scattered all over.
But that's why like we're getting different stories. It's like we talked about like within the last few episodes, like where did these other guys come from? They met up in the train rail and all. So I like we get to hop around like that.
Yeah, and then you kind of see guys that are dealing with it, obviously much different than Blithe, but just much different than guys we've seen so far. Picante is like super, super callous. Like he's just like stealing people's watches.
Yeah, I like that part. That was funny as hell.
And it's like, hey, should we trade? You got anything to trade? And
It's like grimy little shit. But
Yeah.
like it.
I'm like, this dude's making mad money when he gets back.
I just love that each watch is like a different time zone. That's what I liked.
What's up, Nazi? What time is it?
Yeah.
Death, bitch.
but I also think that is a coping skill. Like this is how he is coping with what's
Oh.
going on around him, just as much as how Blythe is coping.
Oh, yeah.
It's just more acceptable because he's not hiding in a ditch. He's actually going and
It's
fighting.
more acceptable. It's more humorous. Like,
Well, yeah,
like,
yeah.
everyone's still looking at you. You're still robbing the dead, bro. But like, because you're the only one doing it. But like, at least in this group. But it's like everybody thinks it's just cheeky and funny because like they're Nazis. Who cares? Like, just take his watch. Like,
Well, I mean, everybody is like taking bullets
Mhm.
and taking guns
oh, yeah,
and
it's
like
different. Yeah,
artillery
yeah.
shells and everything like that. That's
Yeah.
acceptable. Everybody does that.
Those
But
weapons, yeah,
but he's taking jewelry.
Personal
Like
items,
yeah,
yeah.
you know, like so it's an interesting scene there for Picante.
things that might be considered spoils of war. Like actually,
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
just like
But then he's talking to Blythe through this, and Blythe seems completely taken back by it. Almost to the fact of like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Which I feel like does a really, really great job of just showing like the differences in the soldiers and how they're dealing with what they're having to go through.
Yeah.
Even though at this point I don't know really what Blythe is going through other than his own traumas or own issues. I don't even know how to describe it.
I would almost would have liked to see maybe like a civilian kind of origin start to Blythe and then flow into the episode to
Mhm.
just see where he was morally at before he went in. And then it could have maybe helped me get through the episode a little bit better
Yeah.
because the way he just acts is just kind of way off. Like
Well-
he just doesn't know what to do in
Yeah.
life.
well, it's like, and you regret being there.
Yeah.
Like even something like that, to where like you're not enjoying any aspect of this whatsoever. Like you're not taking to it naturally, even after like the rush training that everybody else kind of got. Probably it's like I said, it's just not. I mean, but you gotta admit, like there are probably a lot of people that the training didn't take too. Like,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So like I said, it was a rush job. So
Well, I think it's interesting that it's a character that we don't see. Like it's not like Blythe was one of the like a guy we saw a lot, or he's never had a speaking role. He's been in the background a couple times, but like when they're sailing off on the ship, he's one of the ones standing at the rail. Like you see him standing there.
Right.
But he's not a main. It's not like we're watching somebody like Muck or Picante or Toy go through this. It's pretty much a brand new character we know nothing about, but he was in Easy the whole time, and this is what he's doing.
just his story, yeah. Like,
Yeah. Just different adaptations to different perspectives of war. Pretty much.
Absolutely. And then we go. I mean, what's his name? Walsh. I'm sorry, Walsh.
Webster.
No,
Or
no,
Welch?
not Webster. The lieutenant that's has first platoon.
Fuck, I don't know.
I think it's like Wells or something like that.
That's bothering me. I don't have his name right. But anyway, he yells for them to form up because they're leaving. Which Blythe just got there. Like Blythe's been there like 5 minutes.
Well, oh, that honestly, I would just like anytime I'm like around or like what do you see? Like it seems like anytime these guys gather around and all that, they just get bad news. Like you said, he just got there, everything sat down, everything by that damn statue and all that, and it's like, all right, hop up, like, fuck, like,
Yeah. Ain't no rest for the wicked.
Well,
It's
he
time
did
to
get
roll, dude.
He did get rest. Like remember he
Yeah, he took a hotel stay in the ditch.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't like it's so
But then you think about it too. The two guys that brought him there, Skinny and Shifty, they just got there too.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and they were out fighting and marching. You know, so
Yep.
they're probably worse off than Blythe is. Reality, like you say, he slept in a ditch for however long.
or at least stared up at the sky. Like
That's also true. Yes. But anyway, so then that moves us into the night march, where they march through the night to get to Carentan, which is their objective, and where they are supposed to be going. It's Welsh, by the way,
Well,
Harry Welsh. And the big problem they have here is they keep losing Fox Company.
yeah, they
And I don't know what they don't show you, so I don't think any of us do, but you don't know what mistake is being made, but Winters is mad about it and is blaming F Company. He's like the officers are ignoring their training. So I don't know what Fox Company is doing, but they tell you this is multiple times they've now lost Fox Company.
Well, even when they sent old boy further ahead to find him, once he like got because what he like, oh, he called him like bumpkins or something like that.
Yeah,
Oh,
bumpkins.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he made some type of like hillbilly terms, like these bumpkins don't know their training and stuff like that. Like,
Who you calling bumpkins?
yeah, and I was rolling. I was like, I haven't heard that term forever. I was like, but then I'm like 40s, but I was like, all right, so yeah, that was a legit insult, I guess. Like, but the way his like the guy's accent, I was like, you probably are, fuck. Like, it's like Winters would be furious if he heard your accent as a response. Like,
But then you also see like the difference in some of the officers again, because Welsh's response is, Hubler, Blythe, go find F Company and report back to me. Nixon is just livid and is like, what the fuck is going on? Like, literally, he's cussing and like, what is going on here? And Winters is like, no, fuck that. I'm going to go deal with it myself. Like, you see like the different sides of the officers, even inside Easy.
Mm-hmm.
And then Winters walks up on Blythe panicking in the woods.
I thought he got the drop on me.
Well, he would have if he was
did.
alive.
I
Yeah.
was like, that's
But yeah. It's just interesting. They're showing, I mean, I took it, maybe I'm wrong here, but I took it as they were showing the superiority of Easy. Like, Fox Company's
Oh,
a
yeah.
bunch of fuck ups.
or at least just how more disciplined they were there.
Yeah,
Like
more,
I said, to
maybe not
where-
fuck ups. That may be too
yeah,
strong of a
to where
word.
It's like, yeah, there was a real, like I said, it's like Winters was a like very strict person in how he ran stuff, I'd assume, and everybody else was behind that. Like nobody bucked that system. They enjoyed it and ran with it. So it's like when you compare everybody else, you like I get how old boy would be kind of irritated, like why are people fucking up? Like if you're used to working with like that top notch group, then after a while you forget like like everybody else is kind of a regular person almost. Like fuck, like. It's like you all are fucks. Like just, I mean, just a nice way to put it. Like you're not elite. Like it's like we keep losing you. You don't know what you're doing. Like you're fucks. Like, I mean,
Well, you got to imagine if you're marching, to go to a battle, and these guys are going to be like guarding your flank, and they're fucking up. It's got to be on your mind.
That's going to come up again here in a little bit.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I mean, you have to be able to count on the other companies to at least to an extent to not just abandon you or leave your flank open or, whatever the case may be. And I think if you're Winters at this point, you've got to be wondering, can I count on Fox Company because they keep doing stupid stuff that gets us in trouble.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would at least reconsider how I could use them. That'd be my thing if I was Winters.
And then they finally make it to Carentan. And, it pretty much cuts to them being outside Carentan and Winters and Welsh, or Winters telling Welsh, we're going in hard and fast. Take first platoon up the middle. We'll follow with second and third after you're in. And essentially chaos ensues. And I want to talk about this because this battle is super interesting. I guess to start it off, they send first platoon up the road, and as soon as the machine guns light up, everybody either dies or jumps in a ditch, except for two men, Welsh and Luz, make it into the town, and they're all by themselves. Just two guys, which is why you can't abandon your men. Because now two guys are in the city to fight the whole company of Germans by themselves.
Like, where is everybody? Like, shit.
Yeah, he just keeps screaming, "Where is everybody?" And Luz is like, "I don't know." And then they're trying to return fire, but they have multiple machine guns to deal with, and it's just two of them with rifles.
Yeah.
And you end up with Winters walking up and down the road while machine guns are firing everywhere, grabbing guys, throwing them out of ditches. At one point, he kicks a guy, like is smacking guys in the helmet, like, get out of the ditch, move, 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 and is just pretty much losing his cool with the men. But he finally does get them moving. But even like second and third platoon don't show up until first platoon does a lot of stuff by themselves. Like second and third don't get in the city for quite a while. But there's a lot of cool stuff in this in this battle.
Now I got a question, because the whole walk up to the city kind of fuck with me.
You mean up the road fully
Why
exposed?
are you just walking right up the road in single file fucking columns? So far, you're not even fucking expanded out. I don't even know what the word to say. They're not spaced out enough. And then all of a sudden you're marching right up, and you ain't nothing but fucking targets for that fucking machine gun fire. Why couldn't we just maybe space it out? Maybe get off the road? Maybe go around a little bit? I mean, why are we putting ourselves in fucking weapons range, fucking silhouettes in the daytime, just waiting to get fucking blowed down?
Well, I will say, I agree with you, Ray. I had this wonder myself because they show you that the city is walled. Okay, so you had to go through the door. Or the gate. Yes, thank you, Tom. The gate. But we could have used the wall as cover to get to the gate. Why did we have to run up the road? I agree with you, Ray.
Or just get to a certain part and then maybe low crawl in the ditch. Do some low crawling. Something like that to give a little more cover to yourself and your troops. But no, we're just marching down the fucking street like we own the place already.
That
was just from that direction too, because there were guys that came from other parts of the town that came in a lot easier.
Yeah.
Like cut to the people that came in the back side where you heard like the dog barking and the chickens and all that. Like, yeah, way better. Like you still were met with machine gun fire, but like you said, you weren't exposed and mowed down from the start. Like you could quickly get into town, get around a corner.
Yeah.
Like
it could have been orchestrated, but that's my one nitpick. And
I would say you should at least expect it. Like you should have at least expect hey, this may be a thing. Maybe we should send a small group in first and all that, because it would be easier to disperse them than this many people.
I took it as, I could be completely wrong because obviously they don't tell us, but I took it as once first platoon got in, they were coming in hard and fast. They got in. They were supposed to open up and suppress the fire on them, so second and third could come in, which ends up being what's happened. Yeah. But I don't know if that's exactly what Winters had in mind or not.
Right.
I don't know. Because once first platoon gets in, they start taking guys out, and they start, at least making guys take cover. And you see, I don't want to talk too much about it, but you see Shifty go to work. It's the first time you really see who he is. in this scene, and also, you know, like Tom mentioned, ducking and covering with the chickens. But you pretty much see majority of our 25 in this battle. You know, Bull and Buck and Winters and Nixon and Randleman and Liebgott and I could run through them all on almost. I mean, so many of them are there, and you see so many of them do things. So it is nice to have. They don't show you them joining back together, but they join back together on the march at some point. All you hear is Winters say is they're sending the whole division. So I assume they knew that half of Easy is over there and half of Easy is over there, but we're sending the whole division to Carentan. So they're all gonna be together here before long because we're sending them all there. They just don't show us the time when Easy joins up with Easy.
Right.
What did you guys think of the medics refusing to cross the street until Winters said it was safe?
AJ and I were making jokes about it all because AJ was like, I don't know what rank that guy was. And
Oh,
everybody's
you
like,
talking about that officer that was
Yeah.
inside
Yeah.
the little catwalk
Yes.
building? I was like, you're a high-ranking officer, and you're asking fucking questions to a first lieutenant or captain at this point. I'm like, bro, you're supposed to be running the show
Like,
here.
that's what the joke was. But I love that. Like Winters was like, "What?" It's like as if it was. I'm like, yeah, and, like just like nonchalant. But then all of a sudden, just like talk shit, and then just a ricochet like piece of metal to the calf.
Yeah.
Like I'd be pissed. Like
Motherfuckers.
yeah, like it's some bullshit. Because I guess like then though it leads to his like pep talk with Blight though, because by then Blight can't see and everything for
Yeah.
shit.
That was the next
Like-
thing I was going to bring up. Is then everybody's favorite chicken shit is who, like Tom said, hid around in a corner of a building.
The first time he encountered gunfire that we see too.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
he hid in the
And, yeah, it
corner
was
and,
yeah.
yeah.
When especially once the Germans really overran, like came around and started firing those rockets and all that. Yeah.
And they show you him hiding, and other American soldiers are running by him to go towards the gunfire while he's hiding. And then the next time you see him is, like you said, in the med station while Winters is getting stitched up. You have Blithe sit on the floor, and Doc tells you that, by the way, this is the really the first episode Doc has speaking roles. But Doc tells you, well, I can't find anything wrong with him other than the fact he says he's blind. And then you go through this, like Tom said, it's like I don't even know if I want to call it a pep speech. He's not really pepping him up. He's more along saying, "You're okay. We'll get you help. You know, you're all right." He's more like reassuring him more than anything.
But I think it was Winter's way. It was like, oh, you're not for this.
Yeah,
I
I
agree.
agree with that.
It really was. So because like I said, like at that point, I was like, oh, like I said, you can't even function. Like you've seen this, and now you think you're blind. Like. And it's like, yeah, like and once again, just it would be like with Winters once again being so elite and all that, like he wouldn't have hacked it.
Well, so I looked up
I
hysterical
think it was
blindness because that's what Doc says it is at one point. Hysterical blindness, and I looked it up, and apparently it's real. Like it's a real thing, and it's caused by a massive amount of fear. Is what it said when I googled it.
I mean, see how that connect there. Like
So.
got a rocket fired at you and everything and stuff, and
Right, yeah.
like, just
My
black
thoughts
out.
was that what Winters said was the part where you didn't let anyone down. I feel like
Yeah.
Brad was caught between I can't do
Yeah.
this, but I also can't let
But
everyone I know.
and I think that's what I mean. Like to where like yeah, it's like you're not for this, but like dude, you're not letting anybody down because you're not.
Right.
But like yeah, just because you don't have the ability, like you're not, like I said, you're not a failure in any way. Like it's like just. Yeah, like you said, who knows what his origin story was? He may have signed up and just like now I got buyer's remorse type shit from it. Like it's not what I thought it was. Like
I mean, let's be honest. You can go jump out of a plane. You can go run up a mountain. You can go through an obstacle course and do all of that, it doesn't necessarily prepare you for getting shot at.
No.
You know what I mean? Like,
Or shooting other people.
yeah, or
that's
shooting
not
other
for
people.
everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah, because like I said,
Yeah.
like he even and that was just what happened when he saw it and
Mhm.
got shot at. He never fired his weapon until the next battle. Then,
Yes.
like, and even then, he was like blindly firing to build confidence and everything. Like, ridiculous.
But it also shows, like, I think to us, the watchers, like, Easy Company wasn't perfect.
Mhm.
Like, they may have been in the best shape, and may have been an elite unit, but they still had weak links. They still had chinks in the armor, and this was one of them. Like,
Well, that still these are just real people.
yeah.
Like that's what it was for. Like, hey, like, yeah, this like you just didn't deal with this situation very well at all, man. And it sucks that like right when you did get your confidence, like you were just a little too exposed. Like,
So then we jump to, obviously the battle and everything is over, and people are sitting around and they're looting for food and things like that. And you see a group of soldiers, which I think is like Muck and Malarkey and Picante, or not Picante, Pincala, and then there's a soldier I don't know, and Blythe are all sitting in a group, and it breaks out into like a Spears storytelling. Like they're all swapping like essentially rumors. We all know that one of them is true, but at this point, none of Malarkey's lying. Malarkey says he did not see it happen, but we all know he most certainly did. He did see Spears kill the POWs.
Oh yeah.
He watched it happen, and he says in this conversation, "I didn't see it happen." He's lying. Like, it's like he's trying to shut it out of his memory or something.
Clark didn't want to see it happen.
Yeah.
Oh, is this the rumor mill conversation?
Yes, the
Yeah.
rumor mill conversation.
Okay.
But then like Pincala's like, well, he shot his own sergeant. And like we're like, what? And they're like, yeah, his sergeant got drunk on duty, and so he shot him in the forehead or whatever. And you're like, whoa, that's a whole nother level of crazy. Like shooting the enemy when they're captured is one thing, but killing your own officers, like that's a whole nother level of crazy, which obviously wouldn't be true. He wouldn't be there if he was shooting his own men. Like,
I mean, you might be able to do that at that point if they got drunk and refused to go on a patrol when ordered. I don't know.
I don't know.
Like
But-
when you're out in the field.
Shoot, they're ready to line him up at the wall just for a mutiny. So
Yeah,
yeah,
I mean, maybe.
Yeah, but they said this was his superior. I don't think they'll allow
No,
you
they
to
said
shoot.
They said it was a sergeant. I'm pretty sure.
Oh, was it a sergeant? Yeah. I don't know.
Because
Okay.
Spears officer, right?
Yeah.
Spears is an
Yeah,
officer,
lieutenant.
yeah.
So, yeah, be a subordinate.
I'm pretty sure it could be wrong.
Okay, maybe I was wrong. Either way,
But
though.
yeah, if you shoot you superior,
Right.
be
That's,
different, yeah.
that's why I took it. So maybe it wasn't a superior, but which makes it less less bad, I guess. But at the same time, like that's got to be. I mean, well, you see, Spears steps up on that, like I don't know what they're sitting on, that concrete pad or whatever they're sitting on, and all of them just go dead silent, and they're not talking about him at that moment. They're talking about cheese of all things, while they're in France. They're talking about cheese. And he steps up. They all go silent. He says something to them. I can't remember what he says, to be honest with you. And then goes to walk away. And the one I don't know his name, the soldier, smarts off to him. And Spears just turns around and looks at him and then walks away. And then that's when the whole thing breaks out because Muck's like, you're taking your life into your own hands, man. I just thought it was an interesting scene.
mm-hmm.
That really did build off of stuff we've seen in other episodes. So I wanted to make sure and bring it up, although it wasn't necessarily important to the plot, moving the plot forward.
Well, I mean,
that's a recurring thing though with Spears.
well,
Yes.
even
Just
with
rumors
that, like
spread,
yeah.
even cut two, they all have their little rumor mill bullshit, and then it goes to Bly, who's just fucking daydreaming up in the sky.
Yes.
And then yeah, even then it was like they asked him what he's like, don't know, didn't see it. Like and it's like, hey, you're fucking blind, bro. Like this is
Well, he's like, I'm gonna have to take your all's word for it because I didn't see any
just
of it.
very like lackadaisical, like because that's what I mean is like a lot of this is like we're really just following like things are just happening around Bly in this episode.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yes.
Is really what it is. To where like we're following, like you said, we're following this background character who's been there from the start, really, like hasn't had his own like time until now, and it's like this one like condensed episode from like the time in battle to the end.
Yeah, it's a good point to bring up because they ask him that after Malarkey says, because one of the things that they bring up, they're like, well, one of the rumors I heard was that he took the fourth gun at such, I can't remember what that place is called, at such and such all by himself. And Malarkey's like, I was there for that. I did see it. He did do it. Like, he took that fourth gun by himself because the rest of his company died. Like,
Yeah.
and we saw it as
Yeah,
watchers of the show. We saw it.
I was gonna say, yeah, that was like, yeah. So that's two that we do know that happened. Like he did kill the POWs and he did take that gun. Like,
so then you just see, these guys. Well, they get told we're moving out again. I think it's Welsh again that hollers at him and says we're moving out.
this guy just gives bad news all the time.
Yeah, him and Lipton are the ones tasked to give him back. Essentially, we're getting sent somewhere.
Every time you see him coming, I would just duck around a corner.
Right.
Like I can't go. He didn't say it. Like,
So anyway, they go on the march again, but at this point, something we haven't seen before, I don't think, is they all get caught out in the open. They're marching through fields, and they get caught out on the open by I can't remember how many. The rest of the division from that they only left a company in Carentan, and the rest of the division moved out, and they get caught. They catch this division out there because it's a Fox and Dog and Easy.
I love the conversation leading up to it because I can't even remember the two that are talking.
It's Pinkala and who's he talking to?
I don't know. I just know that
Luz,
like,
I
they're
think.
just bullshitting about like as I explained to him, was like, why you want to take the top of the hill to have the high point, and then they start getting fired at. And all I can think of was like,
Yep.
I'd be such a smart ass. Like, you see, this is why they have such an advantage. Like,
Yes.
it's like just
Yes.
being an asshole while like you're trying to take your objective. Like,
And this is when all the tanks start rolling in and they get kind of ambushed a little bit.
Well, yeah, there's
No, not yet.
a fight, but then they kind of each get into their own positions, and then they're there overnight.
This is
okay, yeah,
This
then
is
it's
when
okay, yeah.
this is when they trade fire and it starts storming, and they
Yeah,
all
yeah.
just dig in for the night.
because then
That's
Winters
right.
even says like, hey, at what like 5 a.m. or whatever.
5:30,
the
yeah.
fuck, he's like either they're already going and we're doing this, or we're going at that time.
Right.
Like,
Yep.
No, okay. So I wrote a note because when it started raining, I'm like, man, I remember them times. We were putting plastic bags on our socks so we didn't get fucking trench foot. And I was like, man, I feel sorry for them motherfuckers because they ain't got nothing to put on their feet.
I can't imagine. Just first off, you're digging in the mud to dig a hole for yourself, and then you're just sitting in the rain,
Yeah.
taking turns trying to sleep in the mud and the rain, while the other person is watching, making sure the Germans don't come in and kill you in your hole while you're
Yeah.
sleeping. Like, that's got to be like right up there with miserable stuff. Like, just miserable.
Mhm.
I would be happy that the ground would at least be a little wet and easy to dig though.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
That'd be my thing. Is like the last thing I want to have to do is fight hard ground while like being covered and all that.
We'll see that later.
And yeah, that'd be my thing. I was like, at least the ground is soft, like, and I can get through this. Like, we'll worry about the mud when I'm in the hole. I'll dig like a ditch or a gravel thing with fine. Like, nope.
So this is when another time where you see the differences in easy officers, because 3 different officers, Welsh, Winters, and Spears, all give Blythe, this is where I would say a pep talk, trying to get him again out of his funk and to operate like a regular soldier, like the rest, like pretty much like everybody else is operating.
Well, he freaked out. Like I said, when they initially took that hill and all that, even to that point,
That hasn't happened yet. When he actually loses it, that's the next morning when they actually do attack. So these pep talks are before he does that.
Yeah.
This is just them trying to get him to function when bullets start flying, I think, more than anything. And one of the more interesting things of this part of the episode is you see an American bayonet another American.
Yeah, how ridiculous is that? That dude was so on, my God, so on edge.
At least there was a cool song made about it,
Yeah,
or a ballad.
Yeah,
Yeah.
a ballad.
yeah, later. Yeah.
And you gotta feel really bad. I read up on this because Tapper, the guy that gets stabbed, they wouldn't give him a Purple Heart because it was friendly fire.
Oh, see, no,
Yeah,
I
they
would have
said- they
asked
said
a little
that.
bit extra.
Yeah, they
favor
say
for
it
that.
later in the show, but I looked it up. That whole thing is true.
Oh,
Like,
yeah, no, I totally believe that the government's
Yeah.
a bastard. Like, yeah, I can see. I'm like, yeah, you got hurt, but technically it was just fuckery. So
Yeah.
like you don't get it. But no, I can totally, yeah, because other than that, like old boy was like collecting them and everything.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
I-
Mr. Three Under the Pillow.
Yeah,
yeah, that's Smokey, and
Well, when they said one of his was for getting a boil lanced, so
Yeah,
I don't know
yeah,
how you get a Purple Heart for that.
It's like everything.
Friendly
It's
fire.
like,
so yeah, he does give. Smokey ends
Mm.
up giving one of his Purple Hearts to Tapper because essentially they feel bad for him. But that's a true story. That really did go down like that.
Once
If you
again, he
if you
should've
look it
got
up
it,
in the
yeah.
in the medal count and stuff, or on like you can look that stuff up online. Tapper does not have a Purple Heart,
yeah, like I said, that's what he should have got. That's why they gave it to him.
and I think by the end of the war, Smokey ends up with like 6.
I believe-
So, well, he gets injured the next morning.
Right.
The next
Yeah.
morning he gets hurt. So
That's kind of something I kind of want to, I guess, look up later. What is the highest fucking Purple Heart count they got?
yeah, I don't know. Like we'd have to look. Yeah, that'd be something interesting to look
Yeah.
at. So then, to move into the next morning, they don't really show us who attacks first. All of a sudden, they just kind of cut to everybody's firing their weapons. So I don't know if the Germans attacked or Americans attacked, but it's light outside. So I assume maybe it's the Americans because that's what we said we would do. Is if they didn't attack first, we would attack at first light. I don't know. But that being said, you pretty much see everybody in this fight. They're cutting back and forth between whole bunches of different soldiers while Winters is running up and down the line giving orders, while Blythe is sitting in a hole covering his ears and screaming at the top of his lungs.
getting mortared.
You see
Okay,
lots.
Alexa, bitch.
Yeah, what's going on with the lights here? But you see lots of guys getting injured, lots of guys getting hurt or getting killed. And I'm sure we'll talk about more of that in the next segment. But it's very interesting because this is what you were going to touch on earlier, Tom, with Winters and Blythe.
Oh yeah, nobody came over and like gave him a little talk and everything in the hole and shit. I mean, yeah, like you said, everybody kind of does at this time because at first it's like I said, because is he the one that tells him to get up and everything and actually
Yeah.
like shoot his weapon and all?
Yeah, he's like screaming.
Stands
He's
a pretty
screaming at him.
example.
Yeah, well, at that point, yeah, it's like you have to. I feel like you have to scream anyway at that.
Well,
Like
you're
I
probably
said,
right there.
Like it's got to be so loud and everything. Ground is shaking and everybody, like I said, the people are losing legs. Like the amount of people you see losing limbs, like in this episode is like, yeah, it's ridiculous. And he's seeing it because you're almost seeing what's happening through Blight's eyes while he's in the foxhole, to where like as he's looking around, you can see people like getting clipped and like losing fingers and parts of their bodies and shit. And like he would poke his head up a little bit to see what's happening, then duck down, and you can even see like when he's looking up at Winters and all like. But it is almost like his like inspiring moment to where like he's looking up at him. It gives him like the courage enough to stand up like with his gun and like fucking barely hold it and fire one off and then fire it again and like he ends up I think he does end up emptying his clip and then like that's the fumble fuck around and reload and all like
But he fights the rest of that battle like a real soldier.
yeah
Like
I said,
once he
it-
the firing of his
Yeah.
gun seems to wake him up and like shock him back to, oh, I know how to do this. Like,
Well, once again, I think he just needs somebody there. Like it does seem like, yeah, he's part of this company, but he doesn't seem to have like anybody he's palling around with or like learning from other than people that are going out of their way to like mentor. Like
That's true.
he doesn't seem like he just doesn't seem like the kind of guy that has like the internal drive and discipline to do that on his own. Kind of like he needs somebody there to bring it out of him.
Could be.
And I think that's kind of what we're seeing, because like you said, like when these guys come around and when they give him these talks or these inspiring moments, he's all for it. He remembers his training. He remembers what he's here to do. But like I said, until he does that, he loses frame of what's happening. And it's almost like he's just in shock about what's happening around him and not in the moment.
Mm-hmm. Well, then things start to take a drastic turn for the Americans when a unit of tanks shows up for the Germans and starts, firing upon their lines. And this is what we touched on earlier with the companies. Fox and Dog Company abandon Easy on the line, and their entire left flank leaves. And
look at the binoculars.
And the commanding officer is pissed. Nixon is pissed. Winters is pissed. But they can't do anything about it. Now they just have to hold the line. We got to hold the line without these two companies, which would obviously be shitty. You just lost two companies worth of men. They retreated without orders from higher ups, at least. I'm sure their officers probably gave that order. I'm sure. I don't know. We don't see it. But it puts Easy in a really bad situation, which speaks to what Picante was saying on the way down there. Why do we always have to be the ones to do everything?
Exactly. It's wild.
You're proficient. They'll get done.
Yeah.
Now, I guess here's my thing is we know who the radio man is. The radio man is Luz. Mm-hmm. We see Luz use the radio multiple times in this episode. Wouldn't it be the thing to do if your Dog or Fox Company is to relay to Easy that you're leaving them at least?
I would think so.
Apparently they don't know how to use the radio either, They lost all fucking mental intelligence going to Germany and France.
I think it's supposed to. I think that's the reason why we got that little bit of dialogue earlier in the episode.
Yeah.
So when that did happen, it's like, we're as the viewer, it almost like, oh, okay, so we got that. It's like they are not as disciplined, and they are not really, they're, like I said, they're hillbillies type deal. I think that's what's supposed to speak to that as the viewer.
Except at this point in time, Spears is in Dog Company.
Yes, he is. Spears is. I don't know what he is in Dog Company, but he's
lieutenant.
Lieutenant maybe. Yeah, Spears. Yeah, you're right. Spears is running at least a portion of Dog Company at this point. And Spears doesn't seem like the type of guy to retreat.
No.
But they don't show us. They don't show us Spears during this.
Yeah.
That is somebody we don't see during this whole battle. Is we don't see Spears.
And I almost feel like if you're the radio operator, you should have stayed with the officers.
Yeah.
I think if I remember, that's the protocol. You're supposed to stay with the officers and not retreat with everybody else, because the officer or the radio itself is supposed to be radio and the communications. So the whole fucking just went downhill, and everybody, I guess, retarded.
Yep. So I'm gonna say something that would make Easy Company mad, but this is something they're very touchy about if you look these things up or listen to them later in this show. But Sherman show up and bail out Easy Company. But Easy Company would be very pissed off that I said it that way, because no, we didn't need bailed out. We would have handled it ourselves.
Yeah.
Which I respect that point of view.
They were handling things.
They were handling
fairly
things,
well.
but yes, people were dying.
But the Shermans
They were about.
helped.
It appeared to be that they were going to get overrun.
Yeah.
But the Shermans showed up and turned the tide of the battle.
Yeah.
And were able to push the Germans back. I don't know that I would say they mowed them down or anything, but they were able to push the Germans back and did kill a lot of soldiers on the ground. I don't think we saw, other than the one that Welsh took out, I don't think we saw any of the German tanks get destroyed, which is something that's going to be a common theme here. That, I mean, anybody that knows anything about World War II, the German tanks were far, far superior to everybody else's. So taking them out was a much bigger chore than taking ours out. So, I mean, that is something. But
that's where they had wait for that thing to get so close. Like,
Yeah, that was a good.
And they shot it
That was a good
underneath.
spot. Yeah, they had to wait for it
like,
to go over the
that's
hill.
what I mean.
Yeah.
It's-
That was a
like,
good patience though with that fucking
Mhm.
launcher.
Yeah, and
that was winners.
it almost
Like,
it almost killed some of their
Mhm.
Yeah,
because that's when Smokey gets hurt. Is Smokey that shell blows up right there and blows up all the trees around him and everything. And I thought he was dead at first, and then he picks his head up and he's got blood running down his face and everything, but he's alive and starts shooting his machine gun again.
yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it almost cost them soldiers by having to wait so long. I mean, they needed to, and like you said, AJ, to be able to shoot the underbelly of the tank because they just bounced off when they shot
like I
the
said, it's
armor.
too heavily armored for the ammo at the time.
But see, the other thing I also thinking of, and you're probably gonna think this is a crazy theory. I kept thinking of Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, and Indiana Jones putting that rock in the in the thing.
Side gun.
Like, why couldn't you go throw a grenade in that fucking that barrel of that tank? You know, do a little run. I mean, you can duck and dive, dude. You ain't gonna move as fast as you. You can go at that.
Yeah, as long as you're taking out the machine gunner on top,
Mhm.
you could charge. I think you could charge a tank and do things to
Get
it.
Shifty
Yeah.
to take out the machine gunner. You know.
Yeah.
But
Gives
maybe
you
that
some
was a little
options.
bit more risky than what they were up against. You know.
Well,
Yeah.
they were screaming it though. Like the guy Smokey was firing the machine gun, and I don't remember who was with him, but he kept yelling in Smokey's ear, "Take out the machine gunner! Take out the machine gunner!" You know, so they were thinking that at least something similar to what we're talking about is if we get the machine gunner knocked off the top of the tank, then we don't have, like you said, the turret's slow. The turret's not going to be like boom, 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 you know, just throwing itself around to kill people.
Yeah.
So anyway,
I mean, the hardest part was you getting on the tank and trying to put that grenade in there. But you know, it's an idea.
we see it in other movies.
Yeah.
It works in Hollywood.
Yeah, in Hollywood at least.
Yeah, Hollywood.
So then, at the end of this, as the Germans are retreating, Bly shoots somebody.
Yeah, he gets his first kill.
Um,
Well,
And-
confirmed kill.
and it's like done in slow motion. I think to like drive home the point of like Blythe watching it, where he like shoots the guy and the guy kind of falls and his helmet tumbles down the hill, and all these things, and then it cuts away from Blythe again, and the next time we see Blythe, he's sitting in that hole like in shock again, and some guy we've never seen before, I think coming from another company
I think
that
it was
check
one
on
of the tank guys.
Yeah,
It could have been, yeah, one of the tank guys.
He had the
Yeah.
tank symbol on him.
is coming to like
Yep.
check on things and is like, "Hey, you all right?" And he like stands up, ignores the guy.
Through it.
Yeah. And like walks away, but then he walks all the way across the battlefield to see if he killed that guy, and the guy's not there, but there's a bunch of blood there, and then he like blood trails the guy into the trees and the guy's dead.
Yeah.
But that's
Like
where
his trophy.
he takes a little like flower thing because he earned it.
Right, that's what I was getting ready to say.
Well,
Like, you know, they say earlier in the episode that flower is the symbol of a true soldier, and then he takes it off the guy and puts it on his outfit. You know, like now I'm actually a soldier.
Well, like I said, I think it gave him the confidence for the next
Yeah.
little mission they go on and everything. And like I said,
This is the first time after a battle we haven't seen downtime. Like they immediately went on the march again after
Yeah.
this battle.
yeah.
Maybe it's because they weren't prepared to battle here. Like they just met up with another force and
Mhm.
like had to have a battle. But normally, like they take a city and then they stay in that city and chill for a little while and then they move out. This was the battle ended and they cleaned up and they left. And that's the next thing we see is them on the march again, and they come up on a farmhouse. And they're like, then you see like a mini conversation between Nixon and Welsh, which I find weird that Nixon's out at front.
Yeah. I think this might be the only time on the show you see it.
Yes. And again, you kind of see a difference in how the officers operate here because Nixon's like, we got to check the house out. You've got to send guys in. And Welsh is like, I hate asking for volunteers. And then Nixon's like, then tell them to do it. And he's like, and you see like this argument between the two of them is like, hey, somebody's going to check that house. You're the officer. Get them up there. And Welsh is like, oh, like hee-hawing around. Like, I don't want to do this. Like, I hate telling, and like you see all the men just like staring at them. Like, what the hell? And then he's like, you got any, does anybody want to volunteer? and nobody says anything, and you see Nixon just staring at Welsh like, bro, like,
Yeah, dude.
like what the hell, man? And so then Blythe says, "I'll go," and then Welsh has to pick two other people, which I found weird that he picked a sergeant. He I mean, maybe it's not weird. I don't know, but he picked Martin, who's a sergeant, who's one of the non-commissioned officers or whatever.
Well, you got to have somebody senior. I mean, kind of senior leadership to run the squad there.
Yeah, and then I can't remember who the other person he picked was.
Probably a couple of bumfugle fucking privates, I think.
Well, I mean, he picked three. Like Blythe already went. He picked Martin and somebody else. It was two guys we knew.
Yeah.
All three of the guys that went up there, we knew who they were. But I can't remember who the third guy was. And anyway, they just like are quietly walking to the house, and Blythe takes a bullet through the throat.
Yeah. And put quick clot on it. I didn't think you could do that with quick clot on the throat like that.
You would probably know more than me.
I know.
So I have no idea.
I mean, especially like in this, and like you can't put in like open gaping wounds, like going in towards the internals. So I thought that was kind of weird.
Now it
But,
was
I mean,
it
I
was
don't know.
Martin who did that, not Doc. When Doc
True,
got
yeah.
there, he took over, but Martin's the one that did the quick clot and the pressure with the rag.
Yeah.
So maybe he didn't know what he was doing. You may be right. Maybe he was just screwing up because he was like, I got to stop this because it's his neck. You know?
It's like last resort kind of thing.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But I do want to talk about this for a minute because this is one of those like, showing the fucked upness of like war is they had already technically been pulled off the line, but this was the front of the line and the message just hadn't got to the front yet. If the message gets there 2 minutes earlier, Blythe is never sent up there and never shot.
Yep.
And so it's kind of like, I kind of have a sucky feeling, I guess, is like
Yeah.
Blythe took a bullet for something he didn't have to do. Now, that being said, maybe somebody else takes that bullet because somebody else has to go up there and clear that farmhouse.
Right.
I don't know. But it's kind of a shitty thing for Blythe, I guess.
Yeah. But I mean, that kind of thing happens all the time.
Yeah, I mean, it's not necessarily anybody's fault.
Yeah, I
It's
mean, you see that all the time, just in the show. Just
Yeah.
in a lot of the few episodes we've watched, where someone will like raise their head to point at something and get,
mhm.
just random. Yeah.
It's just your random fate, and that's how the roulette wheel goes sometimes.
I'm at least happy that his character died with confidence. That's my thing. Like, cause it would have been a lot different if he still would have been the way he was and everything without like the story of it. Like so at least I did enjoy that aspect of it, how it wrapped up.
Yes. And then they don't just get pulled back. They get sent all the way back to England.
Mm-hmm.
And at this point, I mean, they have like I don't even know what I want to call it, call back to Rocky, a montage of fun. They show some guys drinking. They show Malarkey and that other guy with the motorcycle, which comes up later. Turns out the motorcycle was stolen. We didn't know that at the time, but that shows them driving the motorcycle through the countryside. It shows, guys playing cards. It's just a montage of them like enjoying themselves, while they've been sent back to England and they're not actively fighting.
You got to get it in as quick as you can because you never know when you're rolling back out.
Yeah. And, but then, like Tom mentioned earlier, they're all sitting in the cafeteria and the Night of the Bayonet ballad is being told. Smokey gives a Purple Heart to Tapper. And then Lipton walks in and he has this somber look on his face. And Lipton is like, hey guys, settle down. The training for this afternoon has been canceled. And everybody cheers. And he's like, all leave is canceled. And they all get this like weird look on their face. And he's like, we're moving out at 7 a.m. in the morning, guys. And like everybody's like, oh, big bummer. And like total the mood, everything goes down. People start putting their drinks down and leaving, and like. But then I thought this was kind of a clever way to do it. They use Malarkey going to pick up his laundry as a way to show you of all the Easy Company men that have died.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I don't know what to think about this woman. Because part of me is like, she did this work and she wants paid for it.
Mm-hmm.
But the second part of me is also like, you're taking advantage of Malarkey because you know these men are dead.
True.
Like, and like, hey, I'm going to try and get paid for this even though I know these men are dead. And I don't know how to feel about her.
Yeah.
What did you all think about this?
I don't know. It kind of gave me like
I mean, I can't blame her for trying to get.
I don't even know
Hey,
what
she
even
doesn't
kind
know that these people are dead.
yeah,
Like,
maybe she
he
don't
just-
know.
Yeah,
you
because
know?
what happened was he kind of fucked up by seeing a name and everything and saying like, "Oh, I'll take that" and everything, and then
Yeah.
she put two and two together. It was like, "Oh, well, how many other names and all that?" Like,
He didn't point it out.
I
She
mean,
asked him the first time.
yeah.
She asked him if he wanted tea, and he turned it down.
Yeah.
He said he was in a hurry. And then she's like, "Oh, can you help me out with so-and-so? He hasn't come and pick up his laundry yet." And then he said yes. And then she asked him for like 5 more.
Yeah.
And then then even after he's leaving, they show you all the bags that are still up there. And the last one is Blythe.
Yeah.
yeah,
I didn't think it was a very good way to just kind of demonstrate that.
yeah.
It's kind of a
Because there's more to Easy than the people we're following around.
Yeah.
But as
You
far
know.
as her character, I don't feel either way. I
She
mean,
didn't. She didn't give me the vibe that she like knew they were dead and she's trying to manipulate. They could be just sent somewhere else.
Well, I
You don't know.
I would like to think. I mean, it's a risk.
Mm-hmm.
Like once again, you didn't take this money up front. Like I gotta
Yeah.
kind of like if you just took it from a soldier, you know there's a war in your own country and all that. Like so, I mean, it's like if you didn't think ahead here and all that, I kind of blame you.
That's true. I didn't think about that, but yeah, she
Well,
probably should have took some payment in advance.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like, or at least half something, a
Yeah,
down
half and
payment.
half,
Like I
whatever.
mean, it's like really what are you have to think. People are dying and everything in massive droves all around you. Let's use some common sense here. Like, what are the odds my customer may not come back? I know he's a soldier.
Right.
What do you think
Like,
Malarkey
dumb.
did with all the uniforms?
Did he actually get them, or he?
No,
just
he had a
keep-
big stack
Yeah.
of them in his arms when he
Yeah.
left
Well, I mean, Blythe was still alive. He was
in the hospital.
badly wounded,
Yeah.
so some of those other people might have still been alive to get there.
Maybe
Yeah.
repurpose, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know how
Or did
they
he
did.
go? Did he have to turn him into the army? Like turn him back in? I don't know how that
Oh, no,
works.
yeah, I would say fuck the army and all that. If anything,
I mean,
would-
I kept all my uniforms. I paid for that shit.
I mean, maybe if
So,
like you wanted
I
to
don't
send
know.
it home to their families or something
Maybe,
like
yeah.
that. Like maybe if there was some type of value.
But he like
there.
what I'm saying is like he's moving out at 7 a.m.
Yeah, that's
like
what I
what
mean,
is he
like-
doing with these uniforms? Like he can't pack them all. He's getting ready.
No.
He's getting ready to jump out of an airplane.
he probably
You
did. He paid for them. He probably took the bags and just left them in the barracks, and they all rolled out.
Mhm.
Mhm.
That's probably how it went down.
Yeah. But that's how the episode ends. Is Malarkey's laundry, and then it shows Blythe's name, and then it fades out to black.
Yep.
It's a good ending.
It was, and it was a somber way to end it.
It was,
And-
yeah.
but also a way to kind of pay tribute to some of these soldiers that we didn't necessarily know their names before, other than Blythe's.
Yeah.
Because a lot of those names that went by, I had no idea who they were. Which I guess is something we haven't seen really main character deaths at this point. So we're not going to know a ton of the names that are showing up dead here at the beginning. So it was an interesting way to do it. And I felt like a kind of a neat way to do it, interesting way to do it.
No, there is one thing I got circled here because I don't think I remember seeing them shoot these guys down or eliminate them or whatever. But I seen that it was a 5-man German team. They had the mortar cart and they're rolling a mortar cart around town and blowing people up. But then I seen them roll out of town with the mortar cart. But that was it. I don't see them die or nothing.
Right? They put Smokey and somebody put the machine gun up in a window and they start mowing down a bunch of German soldiers. But I don't see anybody with. Yeah, you're right. I don't think I remember seeing them shoot anybody with the mortar cart.
I kept thinking, I'm like, you guys are chilling, and you got a whole 5-man team of Germans out here with the mortar cart, and nobody took out the mortar cart.
Maybe it got taken out off screen. I don't know.
Maybe.
I mean,
know.
because obviously we were not watching everybody the whole time, so
Right.
you know.
I mean, they
I
did
don't
mow
know.
down all them Germans in the field.
They did.
Maybe they did ran out of ammo and disbanded the cart. But I don't know. I thought that was weird. Nobody got rid of them. Nobody showed them die. I'm like,
Yeah.
y'all are bad
Yeah.
security right now. It's not working for me.
Right. That's a good point, Ray. Any other little points anybody wants to make before we move on?
No, I don't think so.
All right. Well, I just got a few interesting facts here before we move on to segment 2.
Okay.
So this is just about Band of Brothers as a whole. I found this out today listening to the podcast, which was not only during training, like we talked about in other episodes where they had to go to boot camp to be actors in this and everything, but not only on training, but on set and for the entirety of this year-long filming, they were only able to refer to each other and introduce themselves as their characters. They were not allowed to use their real names on set or in training at all.
Okay.
And I listened to the guy that played Garnier, and he said when they finished filming, there are main characters on this show that he did not know their real names. He's like, we had never met outside of this show.
Mhm.
He's like, I spent an entire year with these men, and at the end of it, didn't know their real names, which is I thought was
Good.
pretty cool. Like
Yeah.
that's a crazy, cool way to get your guys in character, I guess.
Yeah. I mean,
More
it's a big time story, you know.
I'm more
Yeah.
impressed that you got that many people to play ball without slipping up.
Yeah.
Well, he's like the real Garnier came on set for like a month and was there in camp with us, and he's like he made his grandchildren call me grandpa. Like he's like the men from Easy took it more seriously than everybody else. They were like, oh yeah, like I guess they introduced Babe to the actor that played Muck, and of course Muck is not the real Muck is not around anymore. And when they introduced him, he's like, I guess he like got tears in his eyes and was like, I was there when you died. I'm really sorry. Like the real ones, the real men that these guys are portraying took it so drop dead seriously. Like it's kind of crazy to hear them talk about it. So I don't know how much you guys pay attention to little stuff like this. I know Tom a lot of times picks up on stuff, but like there's a very distinct sound they make when they show people getting shot. Like the
I was making
Yeah.
fun of it on the way in, because I was like, that's how you always know. Like, I hated it whenever like you see a character by themselves because you don't even have to be watching the TV. If you hear that sound, you know what happened.
So what they did is they took microphones and hung them up next to cows and shot cows and recorded those sounds of bullets hitting flesh. And that's the sound they used for the bullets ripping through men on Band of Brothers.
Okay.
Like I said, 'cause it sounds solid.
It does.
It
yeah.
does.
Yeah,
It makes like a
think about-
flap sound.
Yeah, but if you walk up
Yeah.
there like oh, cool, like hit a cow, like it's solid as shit. Like I mean, like that is not the sound of a human being. Then like humans are squishy. Like,
Well, at least they had plenty of food for later.
Immediately when you said that though, all I could think of the scene was from Oh Brother Where Art Thou when he's like, I hate cows. It just mows it down. Like the first thing I thought, I was like, oh fuck, Tom Hanks just killing cows. And like, Steven Spielberg watching it with the film. This is great. Like, just
And the last interesting fact I had, again, these are all just Band of Brothers facts, not necessarily World War II. But the real Spears was alive during all of this. So we talked about a couple weeks ago or last week, I can't remember which, about how he came to the reunion, but only after Nixon made him, or not Nixon, Winters made him. He refused to be any part of making this. The guy that played Spears, even though the real Spears was still alive, he would not talk to him. Like, unlike Garnier and Babe Heffron and Nick and Winters and all those guys, they spent a lot of time with the real versions trying to get their characters right and trying to get their stories right and all that stuff. The real Spears refused and would not do it. Because he didn't want his story told because he didn't want his grandchildren to see it.
Okay. I can respect that.
It's
Yeah, I mean, like I said, he wouldn't have been there in the first place if Winters wouldn't have talked him into it. Like I said, he didn't want to do it. So
yeah.
I get it.
It's interesting though, as kind of ruthless as he is in the show. It does nothing seems to bother him ever.
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know?
But apparently later in
Mhm.
life, he really had problems with it.
Yeah.
I mean, we kind of talked about that last week, I think. But yeah, it apparently bothers him or bothered him even up until the end of his life because he died a couple years after this was made. So, but anyway, that'll be the end of segment 1 and lead us into segment 2, character talk, where we'll go over these 25 men that we picked out to keep track of.
Okay.
So Ray, would you like to give us our first guy here?
And first guy is Winters.
Winters, as usual, the first guy here. Winters is like Tom. I don't remember if it was on air or off air, but Tom said this. He's the main character, and at this point, I still think that's true.
Yeah.
Well, I just think through this, like I said, so far the episode it follows his ascension for like how he's been promoted and proven himself tactically in battle and as a leader. Like it really does just seem to revolve around him at the moment.
And I think you see a little bit different side of Winters here because in episode 2, they're kind of introducing you to the tactical genius that is Winters. But in this episode, you're seeing a lot of frustration from Winters and like.
I think it's the frustration that comes along with that genius, though. It's like you have to work with fucks.
Nobody else is on your level.
It's like that's the frustrating thing. It's like if you're elite and you're surrounded by people that are mediocre, like it's like fuck, like how do I make this work and all that? Like,
And I guess we kind of touched on it earlier, but Winters is wounded in this episode. He takes a bullet into his calf.
yeah, it's just so frustrating because like you said, even him, like when it happened, like just looking like motherfucker, like, and it's happened. And he's just like, yeah, not staying off of it. He's like you said, he's hobbling around the whole episode and everything. And they ask him several times, like as a joke, basically, how's the leg? And it's like, it's just it's just one of those annoying little fucks. Like,
So yeah, I don't know that I have much more to say about Winters other than he's in all throughout. He's trying to help Blythe. He's giving orders. He's still working well with his unit. He becomes very frustrated with Fox Company. He becomes frustrated with the platoons when he can't get them out of the ditch.
like I said, it's just people, like you said, it's not being
Not doing what they're supposed to be doing. Yeah,
like, that really is like that's his biggest gripe. Like,
all right, who we got next, Ray?
Next up, we got Nixon.
Nixon is again around a lot, but he's not always prominent at this point.
He's almost never prominent in combat sequences.
Yeah, that's true.
But he's just there to like give snippets of information. Like he's the one who
intelligence
tells Blythe about the Edelweiss.
Yeah.
He's
the one that tells the commanding officer that Dog and Fox Company are retreating. And he's always there for Winters to bounce things off of. You'll see the two of them together. They both show up when they've lost Fox Company, and you see them like almost they kind of bicker, kind of like a married couple or something. They kind of bicker with each other a lot. But he doesn't play a real prominent role in this episode, which is one of the more fight-heavy episodes. At least the most fight-heavy episode we've seen so far. Yeah. I don't think I have anything else on Nixon. Anybody else?
No.
All right, I'm ready to go.
Randleman is next.
Randleman is, again, he's around a lot, but he doesn't even have a lot of speaking roles in this. You see him carry a guy that got his leg blown off. You see him say, "Hey, come on, upsy daisy," and like throw him over his shoulder. But like I think that's really like all the talking we really see Bull do in this episode.
Yeah, like I said, there's a lot of characters where they get little bits like that, even when the fighting happens. Like I said, just like cut to, like I said, just them in the middle of combat, what they're doing when this happened.
Yeah, like you
just-
see him shooting his gun. You see
Yeah, like-
see him like waving his arm at one point when the shells start getting
yeah.
blown into Carentan.
Which I think is just to remind you that they're there. Like
Yeah.
I said, they're not doing anything to where we need to follow their story arc at that moment. But it's like, hey, you're there and you are at this battle. Like,
Yeah.
I would agree.
All right. Roe. Next up.
Well, Doc Rowe is very prominent in this episode.
probably busy as shit.
He is very busy in this episode. He's not always talking.
Mm-hmm.
He does have his first speaking role in this episode, and he does speak a decent amount at parts. But there's also times you just see him running up and helping people, or like that when Blithe gets shot in the throat. Doc says, "Get out of the way" to Picante as he's trying to run up there. So he says, "Get out of the way," but then the rest of the time he's just like working on Blithe. He's not actually saying anything. You see him. The most talking he does is in the aid station when he's taking the bullet out of Winter's leg, and he's talking about Blythe's blindness and all that stuff. And then he talks to Winters after he talks to Blithe again. But you see him all throughout both battles running up and helping people. He's the one that helps. He talks to Lipton when Lipton gets hurt. And he like everything's right where it should be.
Right,
Lip,
yeah.
you're all right. So you don't really get to see Doc Rowe's full character until like I don't know, episode 8 or 9 probably, where he has an episode where he's very very prominent.
Yeah. Great episode too.
Yes, it is.
Right. Next up, we have Powers.
Oh, Shifty.
Mm.
Shifty is one of the first characters you see in this episode. He's there right off the bat. He's one of the ones that finds Blithe. I think we mentioned that earlier. And then we get to see Shifty in like Shifty's element
Yeah.
at the chicken scene, because he's the only one there, and then he just slowly and methodically starts picking off men all over the where the Germans are hiding. And then finally they figure out he's there, and one of the machine guns turns and like starts blowing the chickens up.
Shit.
Yeah, and he's hiding behind this wall just saying shit over and over again.
Yeah, because he should like hit the like the guys feeding the belt to that one machine gunner and all that. And
Yeah.
that machine gunner got all butthurt and all. It was like just fired. It was like like,
I feel like that was a mistake. He should have shot the gunner.
Yeah.
The tactical error.
But yeah, I was like it happened. He just like right by there, was like shit, like just the walls getting fucked up. Like,
But yes, he was one of the first ones into Carentan after
Mhm.
Luz and Welsh.
Next up, we have Lipton.
Lipton, I mean, we just mentioned it a minute ago. Lipton gets hurt, gets wounded in this. He gets hit by a mortar shell, or
he's a
some
rattle
type
when
of
it goes
shell.
off, yeah.
He gets a wound on his face, which leaves him with a scar that we see the rest of the show, and some sort of wound in the thigh groin area that
a
he's
lot of blood.
a lot of blood, and they seem to be concerned that his Johnson is, hurt, but Doc assures him that it's all good. So, but Lipton is also always around. He's like Tom said, he's the bearer of bad news a lot. He does tell them at the end that they're moving out at 7 a.m. in the morning. So, Lipton is wounded, but you don't ever see him have to go to a hospital. Although that lower extremity wound, the amount of blood it was, you'd think he'd had to have gone somewhere, but apparently not, because they have a hospital scene where they show some of the easy guys. He's not there. So, but yeah, he definitely takes an artillery shell.
Do we see him on like the march to the high ground in that whole fight? Or was he out of that? I don't recall seeing him there.
I don't think so.
I don't think so, which makes sense. He
Yeah,
probably
yeah.
wouldn't have been there. Yeah, that's true. Ray?
Next up, we have Malarkey.
Well, Malarkey's there a lot, and he has a decent amount of speaking roles. I mean, he's involved in the Spears conversation where they're talking about Spears and all his rumors and things like that. And of course, he's involved in that. We see him. Well, we actually see him do his actual job for the first time in this episode, where he's a mortar guy. Him and Muck and
Yeah, when they actually have to call it in.
yeah, and is it? I don't know. A few of them though are mortarmen, and we actually get to see Malarkey do it in this episode. So for the first time, but he's always there. There hasn't been an episode where he hasn't been fairly prominent. He always has speaking roles. He's always around. I mean, the very first time Sobel walks around chewing everybody out and finding their screw ups, Malarkey's one of them.
Mhm.
Sergeant Bullshit. Anybody else have anything to add on Malarkey?
Yeah.
Who's next?
Win is next.
Oh, Popeye. We only see Popeye very, very briefly. When they cut to the hospital because Blithe and Smokey are both in the hospital, they're on either side of Popeye, which we haven't seen Popeye since he was shot in the ass in episode 2. But it was just a way to work him in, I guess, which is nice.
Yeah.
And he's kind of taking Smokey to task for collecting the Purple Hearts. So, Popeye having more of a conscience about it, I guess, than anything.
All right.
Very brief scene.
Next up, we have Sisk.
Yeah. Sisk is skinny. And he is also one of the ones who finds Blythe at the very beginning. But after that, I don't know that we see him do anything or talk much.
Yeah.
Like the camera just runs by him periodically.
Yeah.
He's kind of there.
So yeah, I don't know that I have a ton to say about Skinny at this point.
Next up, we have Allie.
Oh, Mo. Mo again is just he's around quite a lot.
Mhm.
But he's not always like talking or doing a lot. Now that I sit here and think about it, was he the one that smarted off to Spears? And was he the one
I
sitting there that had that
think
in that
so.
conversation?
I think so.
Yeah, I
Not
think.
entirely sure.
Yeah, it might. I think you're right. It might be him that actually smarted off to Spears during the whole Spears conversation. And he might have been the one that stole the motorcycle with Malarkey.
All right. Next up, we have Gordon.
Oh yeah, Gordon. What is his nickname? Didn't he have a nickname? Smokey. Hey, that's Gordon Smokey.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry. Like we mentioned earlier, Smokey is wounded in the second battle of this episode when a tank shell. So I don't know that the tank shell actually hurt him more. Probably the trees that blew up all around him probably hurt him more than anything. And you see him get 3 Purple Hearts in the hospital. And at the end, we also see him give one of his Purple Hearts to Tapper because Tapper's the one that was bayoneted by his own man. So again, Smokey's around quite a bit in this episode and does talk. He introduces Lipton when Lipton comes in to tell him the bad news. Like, Gordon talks a lot. He's just not always saying anything important.
All right. Next up, we got Straight Outta Compton.
Oh, Buck. Buck probably speaks less in this episode than any episode we've seen so far. I think the only time I remember him speaking is when he walks up and asks Winters for orders when he's getting his leg worked on, like in the little hospital thing.
Yeah.
Buck walks in and talks to Winters there for a second, and we see him fighting in both battles. But I don't know that he actually has more talking than that, or does much more than that, other than we just see him fighting.
Okay. Next up, we have Muck.
Muck, again, is somebody we saw doing his job for the first time. He was part of the mortar crew. So we saw him doing that. He's also part of the guys that were sitting around talking about spears. Well, he was actually the main person talking during that conversation.
And he was the one mainly like joking about it too.
Yes.
Like, you're taking your life in your hands.
I think that's who he is. Like he's kind of like a jokester, like, you know, comic relief type role, I guess.
Oh yeah, I remember this guy. I remember him more in the next episode though.
And again, he's kind of like Malarkey, and they're kind of friends, so it makes sense. But he's always around. He almost always has speaking roles in the episodes, but you know, it's not like he's like giving orders or you know, making plans or anything like Winters or Nixon or anything like that. But he's always around.
Yeah.
All right. Next up, we got Picante.
Picante was an interesting character. He was the one that had the watch fiasco, where he was stealing watches off dead Germans, and was, you know, had them all up his arm, and was, you know, talking about making trades and things like that. He's also the one that Tom mentioned earlier was walking through the field complaining about, why are we always the one on the front of an advance or on the edge of a march or this or that, you know, and you know, we're in the 5th company of 9. Why are we never in the middle? And again, you see him in both fights, in both battles. I mean, fighting. Picante is more like big mouth. Complains a lot. You'll see that more later too. He complains a lot, but he's not always saying anything important. It's always just like he's more of like filler guy.
He's just bullshit.
Yeah.
Like that's it. He's just that guy that walks around just bullshitting all the time.
I think like he's
like that's all.
He and Muck, they both kind of serve as to increase the continuity from episode to episode. You know, there's familiar faces and people you can kind of latch on to. But
and I'm gonna butcher this name again. I think it's Garnier.
Yeah, Garnier.
Garnier. Okay.
I think this is the least we've seen Garnier talk in an episode. He's around through all of it, but you pretty much see him fighting, and I think at one point he tells his unit, "You go left and you go right," so he actually technically speaks. But other than that, I don't know that he actually talks during this episode. But you see him in both battles. You see him on the march. He goes by. You see him commanding his troops during, especially the first both battles, really.
There's a lot of like just quick orders in that first battle.
Yeah.
So like, I'm sure a lot of these guys have speaking roles that just go by so fast.
Yeah. Very true.
All right. Spears.
Yes. I have a question before I move on to anything else about Spears. Do you guys think Spears knows that everybody is talking about him?
Definitely.
Yeah.
At this point, definitely.
Yeah. I mean, he even if he doesn't suspect that, he at least knows that people are being funny around him. Like that, he at least knows that. Like he's aware that he is an outsider in a sense.
It's very. Yeah, I was trying to figure that out because like he's not around enough. Like you said, he's still in dog company, actually, technically, at this point. But, like, so he's not around enough where he's, like, super engrossed in what Easy's doing. So, like, I guess, technically, he could probably be unaware. But at the same time, like Tom said, everybody goes silent. Everybody acts goofy when he's around.
But also, I don't think he cares.
Well, he may not care.
But well, like I said, that's what I mean. Like, just to ask if he's unaware is almost to also ask if he cares.
Yes, but
and that's why like he does not like he is there like in his mind to only kill people. He does not care if he's making friends with these people. He's
well, to an extent, yes. But the higher he goes up as an officer, while he's still in the field, like that could cause problems. You know what I mean?
I never said it couldn't. I'm just saying that he doesn't care.
Which is what I'm getting at is like he would at some point he has to care.
But I would say he shouldn't. Like, the men shouldn't work. Like, he's on your side.
Yeah,
Why are you butthurt that he's slaughtering people and everything? Like, yeah, it would be different if like the rumor mill. And first off, why are you acting like a bunch of bitches, like sitting around in circles over like rumor milling? That's another thing. To where like you're complaining that this guy is a ruthless killer on your side. Listen to your complaint. Like that's what I mean. Like I don't understand that. Like, yeah, it would be different if he was that way and he was terrible at leadership, but he's proficient at leadership.
Yes.
And he's a proficient killer.
But I think it's kind of okay for your like lieutenants and captains to not necessarily be super well liked, as long as they're kind of respected by the enlisted.
There's got to be a line because once you get to fraternizing with everybody, then it's just a big clusterfuck.
Well, it's that familiarity breeds contempt. Like that's just what it comes down to. Like, got to keep it professional.
Well, that's like later on in the show, one of the sergeants gets a promotion to lieutenant, and they move him to another company because he's too close to the other men. He can't effectively lead them now.
Yeah,
but I think he probably enjoys, to some extent, being feared. I don't know. I kind of get that, but maybe it's just the way the actor plays it.
It could be.
But,
yeah.
I think with that mentality, I think it would definitely reassure you you're on the right track if you knew that.
You're doing your job.
That would be my thing. It would be different if like, why don't they fear me anymore? Or like, why do they feel comfortable enough to come up to me and talk to me so comfortably? Like that's where it would, like, if you had that mentality and then that's what you got the reaction of, that's where I would be like, I'm doing something wrong now, or I've slipped up. Like they know too much about me. Like,
well, I guess. And then it's something else I wonder, and none of us are going to have an actual answer to it, but this, the actor that plays Spears, like I said earlier, never got to meet the real Spears until after this was made. Do you think he would have played it differently if the real Spears was available to him like a lot of these other guys were?
Probably.
Obviously.
I would assume that would have some influence on him,
But I mean, you think about it, he kind of played it the way the real Spears treated him. Very cold, very standoffish, and I'm not gonna talk to you. Like, and when I do, it's gonna be some cold shit. Like, it's like, yeah, like he kind of did play Spears. Like,
so speaking of cold, speaking of Spears, earlier we kind of brushed over the three officers talking to Blithe in his foxhole and trying to break him out of his funk. Well, Spears gives him a speech that, like, is like, I don't know, man. Like, just makes your blood run cold. Just listen to him talk about it. Because this is when Blithe has made his omission that he slept in a ditch for like a day after he landed and didn't try and find his company or fight. And so Spears' retort to this is to give Blithe this little speech that I'm about to say here in a second. And every time I hear it, it like sends chills down my spine. Like, this speech is so phenomenal.
It is.
But he's like, the reason you hid in that ditch, Blithe, is because you still have hope. And the only hope you have is to accept the fact that you're already dead. The sooner you accept that, the sooner you will be able to function as a soldier is supposed to function. Without mercy, without compassion, without remorse. All war depends upon it. Now, I did not try and read that like Ronald Spears. He says it in almost a whisper. In the dark, in the rain, holding a machine gun, and like says it with this like, I don't know, there's this attitude, and like whenever he's in a scene anyway, like we've kind of talked about, everybody's like scared of him already. So he like whispers this to Blithe, and you're just like, oh my God, like.
it's like he's like, this is what this man thinks. Like like I said, like I would much rather, like AJ and I talk about this, is like I want to know where he stumbled upon this philosophy, whether he actually read the material from Eastern literature and all to come across it, or if he actually just organically like came across this internally himself. That's what because if he because that there is that mentality. It's heavy in a lot of the writings from Japan and China and all that, to where, but it's not in Western literature so much. And that's what I mean. So for him to use those words, and I'm sure writers took certain liberties there, but I was really excited when I heard this speech too, just because I'm like, ooh, because then I was like, I was kind of hoping where he got that. I wanted to know that aspect.
Well, obviously the show does not tell us that.
No, I didn't get an answer. And of course, old boy passed away, and he wouldn't talk even if so. So I mean, yeah,
Yeah.
but it's fun to pretend.
But I loved it. I loved it.
Yeah,
Make
'cause
sure you feel like you're dead already. That way you can fucking.
Well, that's
go
why
out.
I like to pretend that he didn't read any literature on it and that it is organic and something he came to naturally, because then it would speak more to like it being something that is in everybody rather than something to have to like philosophically stumble upon and like take upon, like in a certain way.
Yeah. That's the moment where Spears became like one of my favorite characters.
Yeah.
I think Nixon's still my favorite, but Spears is probably a close second.
Okay, so I'm glad you brought that up, AJ. Just while we're talking about characters, Tom and Ray, who do you think is your favorite character thus far?
I don't know, because I don't want to say too much about the next episode.
Yeah, don't bring up the next episode. Yeah, we're
But
3 episodes in.
So just up to this episode, then we'll go this way.
That's what I said at this time.
okay. I got to stick with Winters, I think.
I mean, I feel like it's the popular answer, so people don't want to say it. But Winters is cool as shit.
Winters is he's
like
definitely
yeah. I mean, there's no two ways around it. Tom, what are your thoughts?
Up to this point, gonorrhea.
Yeah,
He just because he just talks so much mad shit all the time. Like he just never shuts up. Like he's the guy to where like I would just hang out with him all the time just because it'd be entertaining. Like you got nothing else to do. Like this guy's never gonna shut up. So I'm just sitting here just listening. It'd be like listening to the radio or some shit. Like just like.
And just like in real life, gonorrhea's got nothing left else to do but to stick on you.
Well, I mean, he's also proficient too. Like it's like, hey, like all right, just shut up when it's time, bro. Just like that's all.
yeah. I think all the guys that have been named here, I think we'd get a lot of answers if we went out and asked a bunch of people. I think if there's a lot of people out there like Winters, a lot of people out there would say Spears or Nixon. I think a lot of guys would say Garnier. I think you might get some other answers, but I think they would be some of the top ones, and all of them.
I like Nixon too. Nixon's a cool character, but he's not around a whole lot to make a humongous impact.
Once again, I like them all for different reasons. It's just like. Yeah, like I just know that out of everybody, like I'd probably I'd hang out with Garnier around probably the most.
I think at this point, 3 episodes in, Spears shouldn't be your favorite character because he's not been around enough. Spears isn't going to be your favorite character after 3 episodes. He might be your favorite character after 8 episodes, because the longer this goes on, he's around more.
Yeah.
And people don't know that at this point. But through 3 episodes, Spears is only in and out periodically.
For me, and I'm saying like the first time I watched this, and this is probably like the 3rd or 4th time I watched it, but the first time I watched it, that moment, Spears, probably because he's not around a lot.
Yeah.
I think it builds a lure. Right?
And then you got that moment. Yeah. He was definitely like, he was somebody every time he was on screen, I'm like, oh, something cool is probably.
But then if you know that philosophy, then it drives home like, oh, I get why you act this way. Like there is like a solitude to this to where like you are just reactive killing. Like I get what you're doing. Like, now, a lot of the people you're around, like I said, because that's the thing is like if he did read the literature, no one around him is going to understand because you're trying to convey an Eastern thought to a Western mind and principle. So it's going to, especially in the 40s, like that's what I mean. Like, so depending how he came to this thought, everything is really like, no wonder everybody is terrified of you and thinks you're weird, dude. It's like you are completely shifting a paradigm here in thought.
Yeah.
But here's another question I just thought of off the top of my head. So, the real Spears was terrified of what people were going to think of him after seeing these episodes. Okay? But, in the last 2 episodes that he's been in, the character portion of our episode has completely broken down when we've gotten to Spears, and we've spent like 20 or 30 minutes talking about this man all by himself.
Yeah.
Like, obviously, there's something there. And it's not like we're sitting here bashing him.
Yeah, no, not at all.
So I think that Spears I'm trying to word this very carefully because I don't want to come across like I'm saying something negative about him. But I don't think he had as much to worry about as he thought he did.
Oh no,
No.
by far, no.
And I feel like, at least to us, we're not everybody. You know, there might be people that have issues with some of the stuff, but I think he can be endearing to people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, like I said, I like Spears' character.
At the very least, he's super interesting.
Well, yeah, because what's really interesting to me about him is he's extremely good at killing Germans. Right? He's not the only one who's good at killing Germans.
Right.
But you see, like, say, Garnier lose his shit and,
Mm-hmm.
mow down a bunch of Germans. You see, like, Picante kind of coping by looting bodies and stuff, or kind of dehumanizing them in that way. Spears does all that, but he just seems so unaffected by it. Like, he is not hot blood. He's just, this is what I'm here to do. I'm doing it.
But that's why it goes
And
back to that
interesting,
speech, though.
Like, there's no other character like that.
So
in the show.
Because even old boy, like, rather than collecting watches, the other one's collecting Purple Hearts.
Right. Yeah.
Like, I mean, like I said, everybody's coping in their own way, but he's like.
So I listened to an interview today of the guy that played Spears, and he said one of the things, because even though he couldn't meet Spears, he did a lot of research on Spears for this part, and he said that he thinks the reason Spears acted the way he did, and the way Spears was able to accomplish what he accomplished, is because he was very analytical. His job outside of the military was he was an accountant.
Oh.
So it was
Okay.
just 2 + 2 = 4. This is what I do.
Right. Yeah.
There was no, I'm going to sit around and mull over it forever.
Mm-hmm.
It was, okay, this has to be done. Go.
Okay, that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
And that was his explanation. Obviously, we don't know that's a fact, but it was his opinion. And this is somebody that after he filmed it, did get to know Spears fairly well.
Mm-hmm.
And that was his assessment of the whole thing. So,
Yeah.
just something interesting to think about.
Yeah.
But I suppose we should probably move on to another character now that
we
we've
have
talked
to.
about Spears for who knows how long.
All right. Next up, we got Liebgott.
Oh, yeah, Liebgott. Liebgott, again, is one of those characters that doesn't really talk a lot in this episode. But he's around through the whole thing. Like, you see him through both battles. I take that back. He's the one that talks and helps the guy that gets blown up after he gets blown up. Remember when he's in like the China shop and the artillery shell comes down and blows that guy up?
Oh, right. And he's all.
Yeah, and Liebgott's the one he runs into after he like stumbles out.
Yeah.
And Liebgott's the one that was like, "Hey, buddy, sit down," and like helps him, is like holding him and like hollers for people to come help him pick him up and like all that stuff. So Liebgott is it talks through that, I guess. And you kind of see like a softer side of Liebgott. A lot of times Liebgott's fiery, and like you see him get in a fight with Garnier at one point, and like things like that. This was more of like a holy shit, I feel really sorry for you, man. Like, and once the camera panned out and you saw what the guy looked like, you see why. Like, he's pretty fucked up. But yeah, so that was, I think, Liebgott's biggest contribution to this episode, I guess, other than fighting. But
Pinkala is next.
Pinkala is like more he's more prominent in this episode than he has been, but he's not super prominent. He's part of the Spears talk. He is he's with them with the shooting mortars, thank you. He's with them and that group of guys doing that. So he's around, but he talks a little bit during the Spears conversation, but he's not like super prevalent.
Yeah, he's there when the guy's showing off all of his watches.
Yes, he's
Still
sitting
talking
there.
about getting a Luger. Yeah.
Yep. So.
Luz is the next.
Oh yeah, Luz's biggest contribution to this episode, I think, is he saves that family.
Mm-hmm.
For whatever reason, he doesn't want to.
He doesn't want to
Blindly toss a grenade
in there, even though they'd done it 2 times before that. And I saw a interview with Luz or like a article written about the real Luz, where he said after that, I didn't know I couldn't help but think how many innocent people we killed before. Like by just throwing grenades into buildings or shooting artillery into buildings, not knowing there were still people in them. They weren't soldiers, obviously.
Be a hell of a thing.
But yeah, you don't really know what came over him in that scene because Hubler is yelling at him, hit the window, and he's like, how about we just go in? And then there's a family in there, with kids and everything. Why he decided that mid-battle, I don't know, but and again, he's around and all throughout. So
and the final one for this episode is Martin.
Yeah, Martin is again around. He's there in both battles. We see him, fighting, and I think we see him yelling at a couple points. But I don't know that Martin has a huge role or a speaking role in this episode. He has more in the next episode, but I don't know that he does in this episode.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody think of anything where he was
can't think
I-
of
not
anything-
really,
anything
no.
memorable.
Yeah. So yeah, I think that's the wrap up of our second segment then, gentlemen. And that'll wrap up episode 3, Carentan. And we appreciate you tuning in for that. And we would appreciate you tuning in next week for episode 4 of Band of Brothers, The Replacements. And no, we're not talking about the football movie. We're talking about the episode of Band of Brothers.
Keanu.
And please rate, review, subscribe, leave us some comments.
Blockbuster Bums for Life at gmail.com, as you see trickling across your screen there.
Yes, you can send us an email there and send us a message. Tell us what you think. We'd appreciate it. And thanks for tuning in to Blockbuster Bums.